for those of us that are like, I have so many ideas, but I don't know how they relate. I have so many thoughts, but I don't know how to connect them. Or I have so many thoughts that there's too much noise and I don't have clarity. This right here is the clarity. Honestly, the app isn't the point, right? The process is. Stop collecting in these Notion databases and actually start thinking and start processing information. If you're tired of having notes scattered everywhere, I want to say welcome, my friend. All right, this is where we change that. I'm literally inviting you to look over my shoulder and watch how I think, right? How I take a spark of curiosity and just one idea, right? And turn it into something clear and connected. I have this whole thought trail at the end of these sessions, and a thought map is what I call it. I'm using the app Sublime, which is one of the best tools that I've found for discovering connections between ideas and then thinking visually. I'll leave a link in the description if you want to check it out. So let's slow down, let's think deeply and see where this goes. Today's spark of curiosity was something I call step off the trail. This is a moment that recently happened to me where I was walking on the trail behind my house, and the trail crosses over a creek, right? And I was coming up to the bridge when I saw a woman ahead of me walking the opposite direction, and a couple was trailing behind her, just kind of chatting quietly, walking their dog. And as she reached the creek, she slowed down, and not because she needed to, not because something was blocking her way, she just chose to stop, right? She gently stepped off the path. She turned to face the water, and her hands were folded behind her back, and she was just relaxed, and she stood there simply looking, admiring, and just kind of being with the creek, right? She wasn't taking pictures of it, she wasn't journaling about it, not turning it into content, right? She was just noticing. And then the couple passed her, and I passed her, right? We all kept moving, but she saw something that we didn't. And then it hit me. If we want more beauty in our lives, if you want more connections between disparate thoughts and ideas, if we want more insight, more wonder, more God moments, right, more revelation, we might need to step off the trail more often. Not leave the trail, not abandon direction, just pause the momentum, face what is drawing us, the idea, the quote, the question, right? The thought that keeps tapping on our shoulders saying, hey, I want you to spend time with me, right? Step off the trail. So this was a moment that I wrote down in Sublime, and Sublime, if you don't know, is kind of like a second brain, but with a soul.
Hey, I want to pause here just for a moment. I used to have hundreds of notes and quotes and half thoughts and ideas, all tucked away nice and neat in my note-taking app. I thought I was saving them, but really, I was burying them. I tried new apps and fancy dashboards, relational databases in Notion, but nothing changed. Then it hit me, I didn't need another app. I didn't need another system. What I needed was a rhythm, a way to help ideas breathe and connect. This rhythm has become what I call idea to insight. It's a 5-step practice to move from scattered notes to living ideas. If your notes are feeling more like a graveyard than a garden, this might be what you've been missing. Check it out with the link below. Idea to insight. All right, let's get back to it.
I have trouble saying it's a second brain because I don't want you to think that this is another tool that will help you organize ideas. It can do that, but it actually helps you think and process and create, which is why I love it, which is why I use it more than any other tool when it comes to note-taking. I'm done with all the tools that are beautiful and that are powerful and the all-in-ones. I'm just done with those. I want something that's going to help me think. I want something that's going to help me process ideas, and that's what Sublime does. Okay, I'm done. A little rabbit trail there. Speaking of trails, step off the trail. Okay. So what I'm doing right now is I'm in a blank canvas, and I've added this card to the canvas, and I've titled it Step Off the Trail for now. I may title it different later. But this is what we're starting with right here, this moment. And I kind of want to pause for a second and say that these little moments right here are things that we often pass every day, but we don't write them down and we don't think about them, right? It was such a simple moment, just an anecdotal, not even really life-changing at all, but when I stop and really think about it, if I were to do that more often, what this woman was doing, I might notice a lot more things in my life. I might notice a lot more thoughts. I might actually have some clarity in my thinking. And so I wanted to stop and pause and think about this. And that's what this session is, this video session, this thinking session in my thought lab, right? My digital garden, whatever you want to call it. Now, to start this off, what I'm thinking is I'm going to just use, this is one of Sublime's features here, the related ideas features, to see what other ideas are going to be surfacing that might draw my attention. So let's see. On experiencing life slowly for an artist. Let's see what this says. This is from Rubin. I think when we're moving slow, we're stopping to experience each part. I know if I go to the beach for my morning walk and I go by myself, I walk at the pace that I walk. I get my heart rate up. I stay consistent. I listen to my podcast or audiobook and pay attention to the things around me. I might stop and capture an image or make a note if something occurs to me. But if I were to do the same walk with my son, that will not be the cadence of my walk. My son will stop anywhere there is anything interesting to him, and he'll stop for a long time. He'll find a shell, a stone, a piece of wood, whatever it is. He'll stop and just engage fully. And I'm living on my schedule. I'm living on schedule, trying to get my steps in. And he's living in the world really as an artist, as a creative being engaging in the world, stopping for what catches his attention. He's got no other agenda other than whatever is right in front of him. So that's holding his interest. If we get back to that childlike, the schedule doesn't matter. What I'm trying to accomplish doesn't matter. I'm here in this moment, present with what's going on, and I'm going to give attention to whatever that calls me. That's the practice. Okay, I hear you, Rubin. Let's add that over here, because that's cool. I'm going to use the arrow tool to connect that to this idea. Now, the key here is not just to, to find the ideas that connect, because this was something that the AI did by surfacing an idea that is related, which I do find valuable. But what makes this more valuable, this whole rhythm right here that I'm doing, is actually thinking about how these two connect, or what it makes me think of. And one of the things that it makes me think of is my daughter, because as he's talking about his son, I immediately think of my daughter. Now, I'm going to pause here. What I like to do is take these ideas and I'm going to copy this here, because we're going to start a new conversation in ChatGPT so that I can transcribe my thoughts, because it's easier for me to do that than to type. Okay, first I want to say time digging for, what is wrong with me, for gold with these ideas. Idea number 1. Idea number 2, which I need to go back to here. I could do a screenshot, but sometimes ChatGPT, I need to add this to my library. I'm going to add this to my Creator Compass collection, which is the equivalent of a tag, but in Sublime it's called a collection. So what I'm going to do now is copy all of this here, the text, so that it can fully get these ideas. I'm going to go ahead and put those in the chat, and it may come back with something, but I'm just going to start kind of going through this real quick. So one of the things that when I was reading through the Rick Rubin idea on experiencing life slowly for an artist, how he talks about walking with his son, there was a moment I was walking with my daughter, who is the exact same way, where she is fascinated by things that I just tend to pass up. I can learn a lot from her as somebody who is an idea shepherd, who wants to see ideas in all moments, not just books, but in the tiny walks that I'm doing, in the everyday moments. And I do remember specifically when she found a snail, and it was almost like a chocolate covered snail, as I think I remember correctly, and I wrote about this on my Substack. I could go ahead and find it, but the same thing happened to me when she found the snail and said she wants to take it with her and bring it home and all that stuff, and in that moment I was like, okay, let's go. But the reality is, it hit me in that moment that she was bringing a friend on the journey, and I thought, whoa, it's the same with ideas. I can bring ideas with me on the journey. I can carry an idea in my thought pocket, and I can take it out, and I can look at it from different angles. But I need to take it with me on the journey. I wouldn't have had that moment if I hadn't been with my daughter, who noticed the snail and stopped to look at the snail, to pick it up, to even maybe, I don't even know if she named it, I can't remember. But that's what I was thinking of. So you see, like, I've started to make a connection in my own personal life, right? So let me go back to, well, I'm going to send this first so that it has in the chat. Go back to, okay. So we have these two ideas, right? This is the moment that I had. This is the moment that Rick Rubin had. And then, because I used the related ideas feature, I found the Rick Rubin moment, which then reminded me of my daughter's moment with the snail. I'm going to try and actually pull that up. I'm just going to search the word snail, and awesome. All these pictures that I take of snails. Let's see. Yep, here it is. Bam. How can I walk with an idea instead of rushing to understand it? And I even have the seed, what I call the seed. And there's a GPT link too. That's cool. So I'm going to show you here what's going to happen is I found this through a Sublime related ideas, which led to me thinking about my daughter. Reminds me of, right? So I'm visually showing the trail of thought from one card here. Now, I'm going to come back to ChatGPT, and sometimes it'll distill things for me that I can use. Let's see. Greek mode, like that. I was just thinking as I read through, remembering that Jesus said, unless you become like children, you won't be able to enter the kingdom of heaven. Um, there is a culture of the kingdom that cannot be experienced unless you change how you operate in life. Like, it's amazing how much my kids will teach me how to experience life in the fullest, best way that I possibly can by kind of going this route of becoming like a child. We get so, as we get older, we get more responsibility, and sometimes the responsibility sucks out our childlike wonder. But man, when we get that back, it is one of the best things that can happen to you, because you experience life completely different than somebody who is just drained of wonder, drained of joy. And I want to be a creator who sees and acts and behaves like my daughter, or like Rick Rubin's son, or like the woman who stepped off the path, right? So that I can experience this life as a creator, as an idea shepherd. There's something to that. So you see what I did here is I was reading through ChatGPT's kind of distillation of what's going on, of what I said about my daughter, making that connection. It brought up this moment when Jesus says this, unless you become like children, you won't be able to enter the kingdom of heaven. Now I've taken that and I added my thoughts again. That's the key here, is not just collecting an idea and connecting it. Even bi-directional links, they don't do much unless you actually do the thinking, unless you were to process the note. If you just bi-directionally link two quotes together, and I've done this, y'all. I've done this so many times in so many different note-taking apps, in Obsidian and Bear and Notion and Mem. Like, I've done it and I've experienced it. But the best way that I get to get into an idea shepherd mode is to just simply talk about and process what I am thinking, feeling, being reminded of. Like, this is my perception coming out, my perspective coming out. And that's what I think is the key is, or one of the keys is for those of us that are like, I have so many ideas, but I don't know how they relate. I have so many thoughts, but I don't know how to connect them. Or I have so many thoughts that there's too much noise and I don't have clarity. This right here is the clarity. Okay. Just reading through this. The way this is worded is really cool. So what I'm going to do is write this down, but I want to say it like this. I'm just going to add the word be fluent in the language of wonder. Like, that's something that I mean, that itself could be like a whole trail that I go off of, but not today. I won't do it today. I'm going to add it to my library, to a creator compass. The creator compass is the way that I want to show up as a creator, right? Let's try that again. Creator compass. And now this is a card in my library. It did relate here. So first we need to what I'm going to do is take this following the thought trail. I got to clean this up a little bit. Jesus said, unless you become like children, you won't be able to enter the kingdom of heaven. There is a culture of the kingdom that cannot be experienced unless you change how you operate in life. That line right there is the title of this note. It's punchy. It'll make me want to revisit it again. You can think of titles like doors, right? And the door invites you in to the note to come back in. I won't be reading all of this like right here. These are doors. The titles are doors from the field, pausing as prescription to see beauty. Like, I want my doors to be aesthetically, but in words, pleasing to me. I want them to be inviting to me. So I will try and come up with titles that invite me back in, right? Because like what I'm doing right now is I'm scrolling through, but there are so many ideas I could go through. But if I see a door like this one, if you want to see beauty, you got to go where beauty resides. That's a door. I may want to walk through that. It's another moment that I had with the butterfly. Okay, let me get back to this. I need to get rid of like. It's amazing how much I could. Yeah. Responsibility. Right, I'm just kind of cleaning it up so it can be added to my library. Creator compass. If you can't tell, I'm passionate about how I show up as a creator. Let's see here. So this was a branch off of that, which led to the be fluent in the language of wonder. The word fluent is like, it stands out to me in this sentence. It's pretty cool how a word can change the feel and the vibe of a sentence. But in this case, be fluent in the language of wonder. When I read that here, I think it's down here. Yeah. Your kids haven't lost, talking about wonder. They haven't lost access. So they're fluent in the language of wonder, meaning it's effortless. Like, that sounds amazing to me, for something to be effortless. I took that from this conversation and I kind of made it my own, as in, when I come back to this note right here in the creator compass, I can be reminded, hey, you should be fluent in the language of wonder. If I'm talking to somebody else who is struggling with their identity as a creator, right, as someone who is creative or whatever, I can come back and say this in a conversation, that you can be fluent in the language of wonder. This is giving me it's giving me language to be able to encourage myself and others, and that's what is so powerful, right? All right, I'm gonna pause here, and I may come back into this, but for now, this was a really cool session. My friend, keep stewarding ideas well. If there's something that stood out to you in this video, let me know. Comment below. Let's start a conversation. I'll see you in the next video.